Welcome, everybody, to episode 196 of the You Can't Cop This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam Amy and Russell Gibson. Russell is on the line. He's not away for the week. It's not going to be a solo episode for those playing along on the video. Russell, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Just the joys of living in, the 21st century and not having internet. It's just super weird, isn't it?
We could have made it seem like you're in this undisclosed location and just like super secret, low internet coverage. We'll stick with that story. Anyway,
I mean, that's more entertaining than
than the internet's been dropping
intermittent
in and out.
internet, isn't it? Anyway, that's all good.
Due to Melbourne's crazy weather. Yeah, exactly. Basketball. This is what everybody's here to listen to. Basketball.
We're not here to talk about that, and we're not here to talk about my frustrations with life. We just want to talk about some hardcore card porn, don't we? Really?
Pretty much. I mean, I've got my own frustrations with the basketball at the moment, but it's okay.
Yeah,
it's going to be okay. LeBron will come back.
I hope he comes back.
All right. Well, me too. I think the Lakers have had some interesting games, but without LeBron, they are a very different unit. But they're missing a lot more than just LeBron.
So we actually have that in this week's sheet. Do you want to talk about that now? Now you've talked about it and you've sort of introduced it.
Why the injury?
Yeah. So
let's unpack the joy. Go for it.
LeBron James expected to miss time after suffering a groin injury versus the Celtics. The Los Angeles Star doesn't believe this latest injury is as severe as the groin injury he suffered in 18 when he missed 17 games. So that's basically alluding. So there's about 20 games left in the season. So what that means in my head is he's expecting to come back before the playoffs begin. But the funny thing is, and actually the Lakers have crept up on me this year, that they could lose a few games and still be in the playoffs and not even be in the play-in either. So I'm actually... I've got my reservations about the Lakers, but at the same time, I'm also quite optimistic about them too. Like if you can rest LeBron until the playoffs, maybe stretch out his recovery time just that little bit longer if they're doing well, Luka can take over and, get a bit more established and a bit more comfortable. I mean, this is not all, in my head, this is not all bad for the Lakers. LeBron missing a little bit of time and then coming back to the playoffs fresh, right? So
yeah, true.
So I think
it's not. But I suppose the problem for the Lakers is it's not just LeBron. Rui's injured. Austin Reeves is carrying an injury. Like they're starting to come unraveled, and injuries are probably the most plaguing thing for any NBA team. So
yeah. For me, I feel like when I watch the Lakers, it seems to me like your 5 spot is where you're suffering the most with injuries. It just seems like even if Jackson Hayes was back and he was playing well, that would just be a major, plus for that team, I feel. But
Hayes and Rui, like both of them, having all of our big options gone is pretty telling.
Yeah. How are you feeling about the Lakers this year? I think we should give you 2 seconds on this and then we'll move on.
I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. I'm adapting to life with Luka. For all those that do follow along quite regularly, no, this hasn't changed my view on the fact that Luka is overvalued and until he wins something, shouldn't be given the the praise he's earned it. So Luka still, as amazing he is, hasn't won a championship, hasn't won an MVP, and I don't think his value is going to be reflected until he wins. Now, this winning thing is aligned with what I want. So he's hoping that Luka becomes the player that we all want him to be, because I would very much like to see the Lakers win another chip.
Yeah. I can't say that I really want to see the Lakers win another chip just because I hate the sort of the front running that they do. But at the same time, I think LeBron
succeed.
I'd love to see Luka get a championship. And I think the theater around that too is going to be epic. And then also too, with LeBron, there's something to me about someone sticking it out the way that he has. Look, if he gets another one, I really think he deserves it. He's had a lot of losses. And I'm not saying that to trash the guy. Like, to me, that's more about his perseverance and how he's dedicated his life and his body to basketball, basically. So I think in true You Can't Comp This fashion, though, we do need to talk some LeBron cards. So I found one which is completely random. 2018 Optic LeBron James card number 94.
That is a bit different.
Purple. Yeah, well, I thought we talked about this one just because of the color match. So it's got him in the Los Angeles gold, with then the contrasting purple in the background. PSA 10, the pop on this is 120. Now, what I wanted to talk about this is the sale prices. So this is the last 2 years of sales. And basically, it's gone from 140 all the way down to $37. And now it's currently trading at 129 again. So I think what this says to me is that even in today's market where you've got someone as important and as liquid as LeBron, there is still a lot of variation in there. So that to me says two things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to panic sell. And the other thing too
Yep.
is you need to be alert for bargains when they do come up, because I would hazard a guess that these were sales that were sold by auction. And I could not imagine they were, buy it now prices. Like
Mm,
that's not the eBay thing to do at all. So yeah,
yeah.
I just think set your alerts, focus on some cards that you want to. I've got too many alerts set on eBay, but definitely every now and again, something will come up I'm interested in that's a really great price and I just basically scoop it up. I
Yeah.
think that's a takeaway message there. All
I
right,
have to
we've
say I do
already
like the color match. The purple color match is a good one.
yeah. All right, Adam, and again in true you can't comp this form, we have already segued, so let's get back to the sheet. And the first thing I had in the sheet this week was Jokic versus SGA. So the Nuggets and OKC played back-to-back game this week, and I
Hmm.
watched both of the games. I personally think that there's a strong argument to be made. This is the two best teams in basketball at the moment. So this for me was a fantastic case study. The first game wasn't, I would say, as entertaining as the second. So if you haven't watched either of the games, you want to go back and watch it. Even if you watch the 15-minute recap, it's really good, entertaining basketball laid out there for you. And so
Yeah.
my takeaways from that was that at the end of the day, it was a pretty high scoring game, which I actually thought that would have favored OKC more than Denver. But actually, in the end, in the second game, this is what we're talking about now,
Yeah.
the Nuggets had a lot more gas. So my sort of observation was that the Nuggets were more consistent about generating good offense and open shots. And I actually felt as though
Mm,
OKC struggled a little bit because I feel as though often their offense is fueled by their defense or sort of fueled through transition or even sort of like semi transition sort of opportunities. But the Nuggets did a really good job of taking that
yeah.
away. And then when they sort of got down to the half
Yep.
court, actually, I felt like their offense was a little bit predictable. And so that to me was, if I'm summarizing this game in sort of two sentences, that was my takeaway from it. But you can't go past Nikola Jokic's line here 15 or 20 from the floor, 4 or 5 from the free throw line, 18 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, and a block. Just insane numbers. We've got another box score that we're going to talk about Jokic in a second. So I think, yeah, just absolutely insane. So this was for me the perfect opportunity just to take these guys head to head. Now, let's start with SGA though,
Yeah.
because when we're
They
looking,
went
so
back
this
to
is from
back.
our
It's
Instagram page.
hilarious.
If you don't follow us, please. What's that, mate?
You give us a. I said it's just ironic that they went head to head and back to back.
Yeah, they do that sometimes, and sometimes they also do it to like home and away. So then you actually sort of have like a true,
Mm,
head-to-head matchup, which actually I kind of like stuff like that. Sometimes that quirky sort of stuff they play into the
yeah.
fixture. So SGA at the moment is absolutely skyrocketing. So he's currently at 1,550. I think if we're talking about the hottest card in basketball, in my opinion, this is the card at the moment. It is just on an absolute heater. So looking at the timeline of this, basically that's like the last 3 months. I'm pretty sure that's what I did for that. That is just about tripled in value. It's just absolutely
Yeah.
just skyrocketed. And we were talking about this card at a sort of
Yeah.
$500 mark, and my recollection of my opinion was
Hmm.
that I was like, oh, I don't know about this. That seems a little bit high for me. Where is this going to end up? So I couldn't have been more wrong about this. But I'm really happy for people that have been holding SGA for a long time. This is
Mm,
lovely to have your collection increase on that sort of percentage base. But I've got to say, people who are jumping into it now, I'm going to reflect what I said earlier. Like for me, this is a really, it's a tread easy thing. And my feeling
yeah.
about this card is that people are betting on him winning the MVP. What do you think is pushing his card value up at?
I think you just hit the nail on the head. I'm a very everybody knows my opinion, and I think I touched on it earlier with Luca. Paying for future pricing. And this is the thing, I get it, but they're paying for the card as if he's already won the MVP. Now I don't know if they noticed that there's another bloke on the court in those two games, and we just touched on him called Nikola Jokic,
Yeah.
And what happens if OKC go out in the second round? What happens if something goes wrong? And I think they're paying Thunder have won the chip and SGA's won an MVP prices already.
So do you
Like
think
I
people are
think
betting on
in
the Thunder winning
anticipate,
a chip
yeah, I
or
think
MVP or both?
they're yeah, both. I think they've embedded success into the price when they've said, "Yep, I'm prepared to pay 1,500 for that card." And look, I'm happy to be proved wrong, and it's just an opinion, but I've got the same gripe when it comes to Luca. I've got people saying this guy's going to be a multiple MVP winner, win multiple chips, and he's won nothing. So what happens when that doesn't eventuate? If that doesn't eventuate, my thought is the card plummet.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a buyer
Luca is a
beware.
separate
I'll
conversation
double
altogether.
down. I'll When we talked, I remember we were talking about it going up, and I said I wasn't overly keen. I would put it around that Jason Tatum being the barometer, so to speak. I'm like, yeah, this year he sent himself into
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stratosphere at that superstar level. So that's 6 to 800 range. So 700, 750, no problem with. Skyrocketing past Luca to 1,500, I think is premature.
I think it says a lot about the hobby, just the way that, things can really catch fire and how you can, catch lightning in a bottle in some instances. But at the same time, too, I think
Mm,
for me, it also says a lot too about how, people's interests do change. So, for example, a while back, Zion was the flavor of the month. And then, we've had Wemby being the flavor of the month. And we've had Ja Morant being flavor of the month for a little bit too. So this, for me, I feel like this is just the current flavor.
yeah.
So, maybe what you can do
Hmm.
now is look at Wemby's trends. Maybe you can look at Zion's trends and use that as maybe a bit of a barometer to see, where SGA is going to go. But, I think if we're taking this back, so I feel like for me, SGA is like just too risky to jump into. Jokic, I'm just kicking myself so hard at the moment. So that's currently trading at 3,700. I feel like I've been talking about
Yeah.
buying a Jokic for about 12 months and I just never pulled the trigger on it. So that's completely my own
Mm.
fault. And I just basically just didn't have big enough balls as to do it. And I've missed that train. I feel like I've missed that train now. I probably need to move on to something else. But
Oh, yeah.
you touched on this. This is what I do want to talk to you about now that you brought it up is Tatum. I think we really need to take a really long, hard look at Tatum and say, look, what does this guy need to make him a more viable hobby candidate? And actually, is he the smart man's buy at the moment? Because I don't think that SGA is a better purchase than Tatum. And,
Yeah.
you could almost make an argument that Luka's not a better purchase than Tatum either at this point in time. So,
Yeah. I actually, as much as I don't want to give too many kudos to the Boston Celtics. They're in a ripper position right now, and I think
yeah.
they
And
are
no one's talking
poised
about them
to
either.
go on a deep run. And if they go back to back, I do think the one thing that's lacking, and I harp on about success. And yep, he's got the championship, but he needs to be the best guy. He needs to be noticed as the best guy on that team. And this year he's doing it. Don't get me wrong. But last year, when they won the chip, Jaylen Brown outshone him. And I think that's actually hurt his hobby credibility. I don't think long term it will hurt it, but I think last year it took it out of the spotlight and people didn't realize. And I think he needs to win an MVP or a finals MVP to really put himself back on the map. He needs to, I don't know, be more front and center.
I don't know. Yeah, okay. Look, I don't really want to have that MVP debate again. I actually think he got ripped off pretty bad on that, but that's okay. We can let
Yeah,
that one ride.
but the fact that it happened, I think, has impacted his hobby value.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's what gets documented in history, right? There's not many people like when you open that door of looking back in time, not as many people were in the moment and said, "Oh, Jaylen Brown robbed Tatum of the Finals MVP." Do you know what I mean? Like it's the glasses that we look at history with are very different to the ones in the present moment. So I think
So
that's going to impact his hobby value.
yeah, so speaking of the looking back in time, do you think that the fact that Jokic has already won 3 MVPs is influencing people's
The
vote for
SGA
SGA
argument.
this year? Yeah.
I think it does, and I don't think that's fair.
But
But
do you think
I
that's
think it
the
did.
optics?
But yes, this should be his fifth one. Don't well, let's not. I'll go on a tirade in a minute about how Joel Embiid did not deserve an MVP. Jokic should be getting his fifth one.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think in NBA history, it seems to me actually this is a theme through NBA history because there's like heaps more obvious ones. Like Shaq probably
Yeah,
should have won. at least one more. Kobe should have won at least one
Yep.
more. I personally think the two MVPs that Jordan didn't get to Karl Malone, I would say that's on par with the Nikola Jokic snub. So
Yeah.
it, it is something that does sort of seem to be a bit of a recurring theme through NBA history. Hey, just really quickly, there's one more line I just wanted to talk to you about. So this is versus the Phoenix Suns. Jokic is the first
Oh,
player to have a 30-20-20 triple double.
that's
Uh,
insane.
the
It
and
was
the
in
Nuggets
OT,
won
but
too, 149 to 141. But just those numbers, like 20 assists for a center, he's just yeah. So I
he's a
think you can
freak of
say
nature.
even if you say, okay, SGA is the most valuable player of this season, my gut feeling is the best player though is Jokic. And there's actually
I
maybe a
agree.
strong argument to be made that Jokic's number one, Giannis is number two, and then maybe SGA is number three, but he's called the MVP. So there's that weird sort of argument in that space though too.
I completely, yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I think I think maybe because of OKC's success this year, he's being sort of the spotlight's been shone on him. And yeah, sure, there's things that go towards that MVP play has to play for a good team, like good stats, good team kind of thing. But Jokic isn't playing for a play-in team at the moment. They're second, like they're next in line.
Yeah.
So in my
Alrighty.
eyes, it's Jokic. So
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think he should get it, but doesn't always play out like that. Alrighty, mate, let's
can't
go
always get
to a
everyone.
break.
Yep.
We are going to start off with GTI. So thank you very much, GTI, for your support. GTI actually stands for Game Time International. So if you'd like to buy some of the best mags in the hobby, go onto their website, gametimeinternational.com. They ship international. There's no issues at all. GTI are an independent company. They're a true collector's brand. They also would like to present themselves as an alternative to getting every card graded. What they would like to present this product to you as is a perfect product that you can present your cards in that looks very aesthetically pleasing. It's better than just a regular mag. There's a sleeve inside of it. The other thing about it too is that when you purchase it out of the pack, there's a thin layer of plastic you need to pull off. So when you do pull it off, the clear plastic on the top is just absolutely seamless and it's flawless. No flaws. The sleeve never wrinkles. That's something they've somehow worked out with their technology and their
Mm,
development. No unwanted card movement. Customer service focus, dedicated to collector satisfaction, manufacturer relations. That's all on the back end. Consistency, top tier quality, and just the best in the hobby. Amen to that. I love their products. I've been using their products before we had a sponsorship. And actually, the reason why I reached out to them to try and work out a partnership is because of my love for the product. So thank you very much for supporting the show, GTI. We're looking forward to working with you into the future. Alrighty, Ad, we're back. How are you, buddy?
we are back, and I am good to go for the next round.
What is your favorite purchase in your collection?
Is this a question to the audience? Is that a question to me?
It's not a trick question.
Oh,
It's a question to you, sir.
my favorite purchase would have to
Yeah.
look one of many of my Kobe's, I guess. Yeah, I guess the purchase of the Topps Chrome. So I bought a Topps Chrome. Nothing crazy about the card. It's a Kobe rookie, and it's one of my prized possessions. So yeah, favorite purchase. Yeah.
So I think for a while I was going to say my Fox NT RPA, but actually I'm considering selling that. So I think automatically that then gets removed from being my favorite card.
Yeah.
I was looking through my box the other day and I'm actually going to say something that surprises me, but like hear me out for a second. It's my Bob Cousy Timeless Moments. I think the Timeless Moments cards in hand, not every
Nice.
single
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
obviously, but just like amazing in hand. This particular one has got this old school photo of him. He's taken a lot of time to autograph it, really nicely. It's a
Yeah.
big, thick silver marker, which, some people would like that, some people don't. I just think it works really well with the card. And it's just something about that card, almost the mystique of it, I suppose. It's not that there's no Bob
Yeah.
Cousy autos out. Like, of course there is. They're pretty easy to pick up, but it's just this whole sort
Yeah.
of, he's getting a bit older now. They had this amazing dynasty. It's the cards in the one touch. Anyway, look, I just really love it. And that's my favorite
Yeah.
one. Shaq Fu. For me, it was finally picking up a dunk and go nuts Shaq. As a kid, could never
Yeah.
afford an EX Century, let alone buy the insert by itself. Yeah, that's awesome, mate. Thank you very much for contributing. We didn't get a lot on this one, so that's actually a bit of a short and sweet one. And we can move on to our next topic of today.
Well, I was going to say, given you want to talk about your Fox RPA, you realize that De'Aaron Fox is out for the rest of the season. Not that the San Antonio Spurs are making a playoff run, but
Yeah, so I think he needed surgery at some point this year, and my impression was it's
yeah,
a type of injury that if he was really needed to play, well, he has been playing through it. So, but I think they're at the point now where the Spurs are probably more interested in getting Cooper flagged than stretching out Darren Fox for,
yeah,
2 more games or something like that. So that to me is
yeah. I was also
sort
going to
of
say,
makes sense
mate.
on that one.
I was going to make light of the fact that it's his pinky finger that's being operated on.
I mean, you need your pinky finger, man. It's like it's an important
That's true.
card.
I was like, is it season-ending knee surgery? Is it like an
Ah,
Achilles? No, no, no. It's his
nah,
pinky finger.
he'll be right. He'll be totally fine. Alrighty, this next one is can you comp this for me? A 1996 Bowman's Best Kobe Bryant PSA 9. Population on this is insane, 4,000 plus. Paid
That's a lot.
175 AUD for it.
Okay.
Would you hold it, roll it, or buy another one?
At that price, I'd hold
At
it.
that price, 175.
Yep, I'd hold it. I'd hold it. Like it's not going to go down. But it's probably slightly over comps. I don't know if we've got. Hang on, I've
So
got card ladder.
I checked comps just before I bought it, and actually it had been sitting around I think it was about the $100 mark. Then it jumped up, like that had quite a
Okay.
stiff spike just before I purchased it. So I think I got it for about $40 below comps technically, but if you take out that sort of high aberrant comp, I probably paid a little bit over. So if you sort of average it out, I'm probably around, what it should be. I might have overpaid just a little bit, but we're not talking much. But it definitely fluctuates a little bit. So that's probably
It's
something
one
I
of
just
the
need to
yeah.
keep in mind a bit. It's going to go up, it's going to go down.
What is it?
Uh,
PSA 9.
PSA 9, so there's a lot of
Okay.
them too. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah.
Free Dizzle trading cards. Great looking card. Congratulations. Oh, I think you overpaid a little bit. 80 to 100 USD seems fair. Definitely a hold since it's PC. Definitely not PC for me, but yeah, it'll be fine. Lift off cards. That's a hold for sure. Even if it never goes up more, what a cool piece. An absolute legend of the game. Yeah, that's the other thing. I have no Kobe rookie. So this is really a bit of a first for me
Yeah.
too. Sort of just getting a cheap entry level Kobe. I feel
Yeah.
pretty happy about that. Yeah. Do we need to talk about that anymore? Or are we pretty well done? Oh, actually,
I'm
wait.
I'm
On
I'm happy
Facebook?
with it.
No, on Facebook we got a couple more. Do you want to read them,
Go.
or do you want me to
Yeah,
get
sure.
into it?
So I've got Alkanes. If
Great.
you
How are you, Al?
if you want a sure hold, yeah, for sure. But you'll need to wait another 20 or so years to profit on it. The problem with established cards of dead or retired players. So such an optimist is Al. He's got a valid point. Anthony Milne actually responded to that. Yeah, 100%. Or get the PSA 10. It's a bust these days. The Hall of Fames like Kobe, Bird, Magic, etc. have a hand-me-down um, factor to our kids. I feel it's more of a nostalgia hold. Then Anthony actually responded a couple more times. I think Anthony's got a lot of thoughts on this one. Man, with Kobe, I feel like it's not going anywhere, especially in Australia. I remember for them going $350 at one stage. Holding them for another 20 years, if you might get 350. That it's a sell for me. If it's going to be a sell, do it on eBay. You'll get a better price, even with fees taken off your selling
Yeah.
groups. You'll need baby oil for that 80% buyout will come in dry. Tops
All
PSA
right.
9 just goes back to 202. Yeah, is the base card for the tops, not the tops chrome. 250 mark is at the moment. So yeah,
Interesting. I would have thought the Topps Chrome would sell a little bit better than the Tops, to be honest, but there you go.
a tops, not the tops chrome. That's the Bowman's best, the one you've got. I think the Bowman's best, the RK20, the R23. I actually think that's a really nice card. I do think the PSA 9 is the thing that hurts it,
Yeah.
and the pop count on that actually does
Oh,
impact it
it's
quite a bit.
it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because the PSA 9's got a what pop of 7,000 or something.
All right. Should we
Yeah,
move on?
let's do it.
All right. So I think the next thing we've got in the sheet here is Steph Curry. First player in NBA history to get to 4,000 3-pointers. So I'm not really one to talk about players making records just for the fact that it seems to me every week someone is breaking a new combination of some record. However, this is not really a combination record. This is just a straight out insanity record. So, first player in league history to get to 4,000 threes. I think what we should talk about is who is in second place because he's at the moment, he's 900 threes ahead of James Harden. He's
Is this like the LeBron points discussion?
it's very similar.
Yeah.
It's very similar. Then, so for me, is the two that really stand out in this is Ray Allen. He's the guy who I'm like is on my measuring stick for 3-pointers. He's at 2,973, so a full thousand ahead of Ray Allen. Obviously,
Hmm.
it's a different era, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. The other one too is Reggie Miller at 2,500.
Yeah.
That's the guy who I'm like, he really was the 3-point shooter. When I was a kid. So,
Yeah.
a full 1,500 ahead of him. Again, it's a different era of the NBA. It's very difficult to compare the two together. But, my question to you is who is going to beat this guy? Who's going to knock him off his perch?
Nobody here. Nobody on this list.
So,
There's
do
like,
you think
do you know what
James
I mean?
Harden
Like,
could get close, or do you think
nah,
that he will?
not even a
Where do you
chance.
think? You know what I mean? Like, somebody, give me someone that you
So
think
is James all
maybe could
right?
get up
So
there.
do you think so? So is the goal to surpass James Harden? Because maybe one of the younger ones could do that.
Oh,
Like, you know
okay,
what I
sure. So
mean?
what you're saying is like no one's going to beat Steph at number one. Maybe someone one day will overtake Harden at two.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
it.
right.
Like, I don't think anyone's getting to the top of that mountain. I could be wrong, but I really think this is a very unique athlete we're looking at in Steph Curry. Look how far behind Clay is.
It's nuts, isn't it? Just like how many threes he gets up. Yeah. So I think where I lay on this is I can't see anyone catching up to him, and maybe there's going to be another shooter coming along that knocks him off. But it just seems so just so insane what he's done for his career. All right, so this we have to talk about a card for Steph Curry. I was going to do the normal kaboom. I was going to do the normal downtown. But okay, let's do something completely different. 2019 Panini Prizm, Steph Curry silver, last sold for $44. I don't have a pop count on this. It's a little bit not like me to do that to you. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, I lied to you. Population on this is 1,171. All right, so the reason why I chose to talk about this card is that my issue with Steph Curry now is just the price point. For me, it's really difficult to get in on a price point on him. So I'm trying to find a card that, might be a little bit different and
Mm,
also is a bit more affordable. So at $44 for a PSA 10, I really like this. I like the
I like
aesthetics on the
that. I
card.
like that a
I
lot.
think I think this particular year on Prism
Mm,
was nice, and we're going to talk about Prism a little bit later on the show, and it's going to sort of echo my thoughts again too. I think the photography generally on Prism is pretty good. I think particularly for the bigger names, they
yeah.
will generally put a better photo in. And again, this is like to me, it's an exceptional action shot. So look, I just like this. I think something like this to me is something you would buy and put away for the long term, and I think you'll do actually percentage-wise quite well out of it. And even if you do end up losing on it at $44, I think you'll be able to survive and, what do they say? Live to fight another day. So that's where I'm leaving that one.
Yeah. No, it's a good looking card. Um, and yeah, you can't go wrong with that price.
Alrighty. Now this one was a very weird news story that I heard, and I thought I'd look into it. And I thought we haven't checked in on this guy pretty well at all this year. So why don't we talk a little bit of Giannis?
Yeah, he's
Alrighty.
still in the
So
league apparently.
he's playing really well at the moment too. I think the problem with the Bucks is that
Mm,
the league is actually pretty stacked this year, and there's lots of fun stuff to talk about. Like we haven't spoken about the Magic for a few weeks now, which were my darlings at the start of the year. We
yep.
we have been talking about Detroit a little bit, but probably not enough. We've dropped off talking about the Rockets, so it's just a lot going on this year in the league. Alrighty, Giannis has mid range now. Giannis has made 102 mid-range shots this year, the fourth most in the NBA while shooting 47%, higher than mid-range masters such as DeMar DeRozan, Donovan Mitchell, and Kyrie Irving. It's part of my game, and I've worked on it all summer long. So, what does this mean for Giannis? He basically now is a freak athlete who's got mid to high ball handling, absolutely dominant at the ring shooting stats.
Hmm.
He's been improving his 3-point shot. It's there, but it's not fantastic. But now he's added his mid range game. So, we were talking about OKC before, grinding down, not really being able to get good shots off against the Nuggets. This is what you need to consistently get good shots, as games slow down as they go into the playoffs. I like this a lot. I feel like this is the kind of the minutia that ESPN might
Minutia.
not talk about
Yep.
but we should absolutely, pay some respect to. And again, in true you can't comp this recipe slash history, we have to talk some Giannis. We've been talking about Prizm. Let's keep the Prizm conversation going today. What can we find here? Here we go. 2019 Prizm Giannis. Last sold for $40. So very, very comparable to the Steph Curry that we just spoke about. What is the population on this bad boy? 1,088. So again, very, very similar. And actually a very
Mm.
similar waveform when it comes to the sales on this too. So it's been up to $50. It's been all the way down to $20. Look, I think at $20, this card's actually been down to $15. It's been down to $13. I mean, that's an
Isn't that
insane
cheaper than the
purchase.
grading costs?
Yeah, that's right. For a 10 too.
Crazy, isn't it?
Look, I like this. For all the reasons I said about the Steph Curry, I'm not going to crap on about all that stuff again, but I like the
Mm.
aesthetics. Obviously, I like the 10. Population is a bit of whatever, but also the same thing too. It's quite hard to buy into people, so it's nice to sort of find a cheaper oasis, if you would like to use that word.
Yeah, I like
Final
it.
thoughts on this ad, and then we'll go to a dinner break.
I would think about maybe looking at color matches with Giannis. The green is an easy one, but yeah, good card.
Alrighty. Speaking about sponsors who have given us a lot, we've got Fast Break Trading Cards. We've got two announcements for the boys at fastbreaktradingcards.com. The first one is Fast Break First Anniversary Trade Day. Go down to Tulip Street in Cheltenham, Sunday, the 23rd of March, 12 to 4 p.m., 75 Tulip Street, Cheltenham. Listen to our card show, Timeless Moments Before You Go, so you know what to do and what to expect when you go down to a trading day. And their second announcement, which is probably, you might argue that it is bigger than what we just spoke about.
Just a little bit.
Fast break trading cards have been announced with Tops as the trade partners or the official trading card zone partners for Collect Fest in Melbourne. That is absolutely huge. Talk about going to the next level, guys. Congratulations on being the direct
Yeah.
partner with Collect Fest. It's just
Yeah,
amazing.
that's
So,
awesome. That's
yeah,
huge.
so congratulations. What we probably should do now is actually get the date. So it's the 5th and 6th of July in 25. Brisbane is
Mm-hmm.
26, 27, and Sydney 23, 24. I know nothing about Collect Fest, so that's all I'm going to say. I can't say anything else other than it's supposed to be insane. And it's supposed to cover all sorts of different sports and
All
collectibles and
collecting.
shoes.
All collecting.
So, guys,
Pokemon, basketball.
I kind of feel like this is when you know a celebrity and they've, moved on to the next stratosphere. It's kind of cool to like be able to say congratulations to John and Alveri. That's crazy, guys. We're
It
we're
is.
really proud of you. Well done, guys.
No, they've done an amazing job, and I'm looking forward to going down to the trade day anyway on the
Yeah.
23rd to say congratulations in person.
Yep, that's it. Alrighty. This is the next thing we're going to talk about is our Prism review. Adam, what have you seen from Prism this year and what are your thoughts so far on the product release?
I'd actually kept my head buried in the sand, so I
Yeah, okay,
reading the
deliberately.
link. Yeah, but reading the link that you sent, there's some cute little cards there. I'm glad they've kept with a few of the old sets. I'm happy about the Prismania still being retained. They still look hot. Yeah, it's always nice to see what Prism brings out. It's the flagship of the rookie card.
Oh,
Um,
it's the flagship product. For me, it's the one product that you can purchase with confidence and not worry about, where it's going to end up in
yeah,
a couple of years. Yeah.
yep. Well, and it's the word Prism itself appears throughout every other Panini product. You're right; it is the flagship product.
In terms of inserts and autographs, I'm not going to beat around the bush on this. No one really cares about them. It's one of those things. It's such a funny thing. So there was a bit of a fuss last year when boxes didn't have autographs in them, and you know
Oh
you don't get
no!
what you paid for. People complain, and that's rightfully so. Like I'm not disparaging that, but it's also like really funny to me too. Like in terms of resale and collectability, how many people are like, "Oh, I've got this amazing Prism autograph in my collection, and it's one
Yeah,
of my top 10 cards." Like, just no one really reflects on it like that. So
yeah,
that to me was a little bit of sort of an irony situation. But I
yeah.
think my issue with it last year was obviously the price point, and then if you didn't have Spurs and you didn't hit a Wemby, like it was a really tough product. Whereas this year,
Mm,
it seems to me like it's a bit more rounded out in terms of what's in the product, in terms of there's not one sort of huge, prospect in it. And look, the flip side of that is then, you're not going to get this, massive card coming out of it. I do
yeah,
agree
true,
with that.
true, true.
However, my flip side to this, it seems to me like the aesthetics of the cards this year is amazing. I really love the design, and also too, the quality
Yep.
control seems much, much better this year. There is a small issue I've been seeing on some of the breaks is that the cards are quite stuck together. So I'm not too sure if that's a production problem
Mm. Let's
and
hope it's
if that
not.
will affect the cards. Like, that to me is the big I don't care if the cards are stuck together, to be honest. Like, if you can peel them apart, that's fine. But if it damages a big hit or, a big rookie or a numbered card that you're really keen on, that's the part where I don't really like that. But look, other than that, look, I
Yeah.
think it's been fantastic this year. I think the other elephant in the room we have to talk about is the number of parallels. I didn't sit there and count through it, but I would guess there's at least 80 different parallels in it this year. So it's just insane. Like, uh, I mean, I feel in previous podcasts we've read through every single one, but I'm not going to do that to the listeners this year. I can take a screenshot of this and put it on. I'll have to take two screenshots actually because there's so many in a two column list that it actually doesn't fit onto my one screen at once. It's just nuts, honestly.
It's
How many?
so
Yeah,
crazy, but looking at the first card, that Tim Duncan, is that basketball finish going to be one of the parallels?
yeah, that's one of them. Yeah. So they
I
actually
like
had that.
I like the basketball card finish.
Yeah, they had that in some sort of lesser product last year.
It
It
was
was
like a Hoops All Star thing years ago.
Yeah, something like anyway. Yeah, so
But
that
yeah,
is definitely in one of them. I think it might have been
yeah,
in Donruss and maybe
yeah,
anyway. Yeah, look, it's good that they try out different parallels then put them into Prizm in future releases. I do like how they do that, and particularly in WNBA, they've been doing that for a little while now. So, but look,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
this is the thing that I really want to talk to you about though, Ad. It's like I just can't get over this of just like how much of this product to get to this many parallels and to get to a sheet like that, like you can't do a rainbow with this. Like, even if, like, let's just say you did 12 out of these, like 12 out of the 80, that's still a massive achievement. I think you can still call it a rainbow. I mean, technically you could cover the whole rainbow with that many
Right.
cards, but
So hang on. All right. Do we take now? This makes the chase easier, right? Are any of those?
this
You
is
take the one of
insane.
ones out. You take the numbered ones out.
It
You
is
have
impossible. Even if you did that at it, that's still insane. Maybe,
I'm
but
doing a count. It's 20. Is 21 or 22 parallels that aren't numbered? Is that
even
the
if you
rainbow
said it was
chase? Is
22,
that
you like that's still a massive achievement, though.
It's crazy. That includes White Sparkle, White Tiger, etc. So yeah, you're right.
All right, why don't you just pick out a couple here that you wanted to talk about, or maybe you would collect or something like? Is there
Some of the
something that you're?
parallels.
Yeah, is there something that you're keen to get?
Look, I'm all about whatever parallel brings me a color match. Everyone knows that. Um, I think the lower ones, the thing that I that annoys me the most is that all the gold ones tend to be numbered to 10. So as a Lakers fan, it's very hard to get the gold color match. So I look out. I keep a lookout for purple, but they're also somewhat low numbered. So yeah, it makes it tricky. But
Yeah,
I do like trying to get a color match or a theme to really make the card pop. That's what I look for in a parallel. Aside from obviously low numbering, if it's a rookie, but
I like that they've made gold to 10 this year. Like in my OCD head, that's what gold should be. It should be numbered to 10. I like that
yeah,
black gold is to 5. I'm really liking that at the moment. The other one, so last year I was frothing over the blossom card. So this year they've made it purple blossom. And I actually think purple is better than the pink. So
yeah,
I'm all about, getting those. They actually were really tough pulls last year and they sold really well in the aftermarket. So that's something for me
mm,
is just to keep an eye out on and maybe I can pick, one
yeah.
or two up, something like that. But yeah, I'm not really holding my breath for that at all. All right, let's do one more quick one ad and then we'll go to another break because as usual we're all over the place when it comes to tonight. This is not a quick one, but we can introduce it and then we can move on to the next thing. So
I like it. I like it.
okay, so for this one, Ad, if we talk about it too much and you want to kill it, just let me know, okay, and we'll move on. Because I'm sort of like I could talk about this for either 2 minutes or 2 hours. So if I sort of crap on, just cut me off. Fanatics Panini legal battle continues as Judge nixes dismissal. So basically, what that means is Panini put a lawsuit in against Fanatics, and basically what it was about was them basically running the tables and having all the licenses, and that was like a
Mm-hmm.
what's the word that I'm trying to search for here?
Monopoly.
Yeah.
They've
Thank you very
monopolized it.
much.
Yeah.
even though you could argue that Panini had that monopoly for a while, and also they made monopoly cards. But let's not
Ha
go to
ha
that.
ha. Yep.
Anyway, so then Fanatics put in a counterclaim against them. And the
Yep.
idea was, I think in my head, was that it would go to court. The judges would say, look, you've both got a bit of a case, but we'll dismiss them both and then you can both go on your merry ways. But that's exactly the opposite of what's happened. So now they're going to be, battling this out in court, for years.
Yep.
My feeling about this, and I've already said this before, is that no one wins out of this.
Yep.
Fanatics doesn't win, Panini doesn't win. And at the end of the day, we are funding this big mother effer of a lawsuit,
Yep.
court costs, lawyers' fees, da 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 da. So, no, I feel like just no one wins in this.
Mm.
Where are you at with all this type of tit for tat back and forth between these two companies?
I think it's bound to happen, but I'm very surprised about how public it sort of becomes, and how not behind closed doors things are. You think there'd be a level of, hey, we've all got we've got stakes in this. Maybe we need to hear each other out and compensate accordingly. But I don't know how it ends up all over the news. Do you know what I mean? Like, sort your stuff out behind
Yeah.
closed doors.
Yeah, so to that point, I'll just read these two lines to you and then I'll add a point just to add
Yep.
to that. So, Panini started the legal war by suing Fanatics for alleged antitrust violations.
Mm-hmm.
Fanatics responded 4 days later by suing Panini for unfair competition, torturous interference, and breach of good faith. Now, for me, that's like ultra ironic because it seems to me like we've spoken about this with Fanatics and their like
Launching their
dodgy
top
backdoor.
stuff early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
Yep.
their dodgy backdoor dealings they did with like the Tom Brady stuff. We've had some
Yep.
like people talk about that on the podcast, and then how they
Spot on.
literally stole the NFL license out, from underneath people. And then um I actually this is what I'm predicting here. I predict that Fanatics is going to settle with Panini because they won't want this to go to court. Because I think all of the dodgy stuff
Mm.
that Fanatics has been up to would then become public knowledge and then
Oh,
people will
okay.
actually like know what they've been up to
Yep.
and sort of like their true colors will come out. And look, you can take
Yep.
that from one of two ways. You can say, look, all that bad stuff's going to come out and then people are going to know about it and they're not going to like them, or
Mm.
it's going to be that classic thing of like there's no such thing as bad press and this is just going to boost up their publicity
Yeah.
and their sort of their their bottom line further. Now, talking about their bottom
Publicity is
line,
publicity. Yeah.
yeah, right. Now listen to this, though, Ad. Fanatics trading card unit last year did $1.6 billion in revenue. That is insane. And that's before they've got NBA and everything else that they're trying to sign up. Imagine how much
Wow.
money that
Okay.
Panini's been making these last few years, if that's what Fanatics have done in year one before they've even got their act together.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Anyway,
That's yeah, okay. Think about how it's gonna be. Oh, yeah, okay.
what do you think the best case
Gonna be
scenario is
fun.
for yeah. What do you think the best case scenario for Panini is here? That they hold on to one license or part of a license? Is that what they're trying to do?
Yeah, I reckon they're allowed to part trade with use their licensing to some extent. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're allowed to trade in the space kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially the way that I don't like the way Top Fanatics came in and launched Tops unlicensed without the jersey. You know how Tops have released like this year, like last year. I feel like that's a bad faith move, and I kind of see why it's a bit unfair on like Panini. Like they should have been given like a clear way to finish up their time, and it seems
Yeah.
like
So
both of them are now just trying to go over one another. So
yeah. So to take your point, that I would definitely agree with that too, because they're alleging that Panini is the one who is doing the interference and the breach of good faith. But yeah, to take your point, I think in that instance, Fanatics did, and they deliberately
yeah,
signed Wemby so that Panini couldn't have him. And that absolutely mucked up like their last couple of years with the product.
mm,
And I think that's the main reason why they released all this unlicensed product was so they could just get Wemby autographs out. Like that was their main, thing for it. I actually, if I'm trying to say the cup is half full on this, the thing I like about it is that it gives their processes a chance to be refined. So what I mean by that is gives them a chance to do the artwork, produce the cards at volume. Okay, what do we need to improve? How can we, make this
mm,
better? That's what I would hope we're going to see in terms of a benefit here from Fanatics. But you know,
yeah,
who really? I mean, who knows how that's going to play out, right? Like that could really go both ways, couldn't it?
that's
All right,
true. Yeah, that's true.
I'll let you have the final word on this because I feel like I had a lot more on that.
Look, I thought originally it'd cause some healthy competition, but it's just like, come on, we don't need the drama in the news. just stick to making basketball cards. That's my thought.
Yeah. Alrighty. Ad break number 3. The Hobby Hangout XL in Melbourne is upon us. The 1st of June, 10:30 a.m. Go online to thehobbyhangout.com.au. Go on there, get your tickets. They are currently $29 for people above the age of 12. Under 12, you can enter for free with any guardian or parent. Over 400 tables. So the reason why it's called an XL is because it has now been moved to the Royal Exhibition Building. We will no longer be down at the old venue. We've been promoted up and into the stratosphere. We are very happy to be supporting and working with the lads from the Hobby Hangout again. We're also very excited for it. And publicly, we would like to apply some pressure from someone from the Hobby Hangout team. Please come onto the podcast. We would love to chew the fat with you for a little bit and discuss how all this is going to play out. We'll be promoting the Hobby Hangout XL until the Hobby Hangout is upon us. So thank you very much, guys, for your support, and we will be right back. Adam, how are you doing, buddy?
Getting there. We're in the final stretch.
Yeah. Are you keeping
Yeah.
hydrated? That's the question I would like to ask.
Always. I love to keep hydrated.
Alrighty, Charles Barkley. The Lakers are having a great 2 weeks. Kendrick Perkins said the Lakers saved the NBA season. That's all them fools on the other network, which we're going to be working for next year. That's all they talk about. Let me tell you all something. I want all the smoke. Between that and this lame ass LeBron Michael Jordan debate, I've said it for years. The only people who talk about LeBron and Michael is people on television who got no talent to talk about anything else. I take that as an insult personally. I also take this as a challenge. So I think that we need to talk about all the important teams in the league, Adam. Why don't we try and talk about the top 10 teams in the league? And then
Yep.
we'll try and talk about one player or one card from each team. And we'll try and quickly skip through this. I suspect we're not going to get through 10. So why don't we do you reckon we could do 5 before the end of today's show?
5. You far out. Okay. Hang on. Let's challenge
So why don't
accepted.
we just jointly agree on, say, 5 or 6 teams that we think are the most important in the league at the moment?
Okay. So what are we gonna base it on?
Right.
What's
So
the
in the
top 10,
West, for
like
me,
power rankings?
non-negotiable is Thunder and Nuggets. Absolute non-negotiable. In the East, non-negotiable is the Cavs and the Celtics. And
Mm-hmm.
then we can go from there. How about that? That's 4.
Okay, so we've got to pick 6 more.
2 more.
That's 4, isn't it? We're going top 10 or top 5?
I don't reckon we'll have time to do 10 today. Why don't we just
We'll
do...
just do 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the 5th?
Who do you want?
I see. I like the Lakers, but is there another team in the East? I don't think so. So if I'd nominate from the East, I'd say the Bucks. And if I were to nominate from the West, and I wasn't gonna go, hey, it's the Lakers.
You have to go the Warriors, don't you? So since Jimmy Butler's arrived,
I
their last 10 games, they're 9-1.
was gonna say the Grizzlies, but yeah, the Warriors. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. And I think
You're definitely.
what the Warriors needed was another veteran, and they got him. And I think, Jimmy Butler is good for 18 months. So this is like the good Jimmy Butler that we've currently got now, right? So,
Yeah,
embrace it while you can,
yeah.
because he's going to be a pain in the ass in 12 months, basically. All right. Well,
Yeah, the
we've
Warriors
already
are
done
the
Steph.
Warriors have come out to play. You're right.
Hey, we've already done Steph Curry today. So I feel like, okay, we've already spoken about the Warriors today. Why don't we do someone else from the West then? How about that? And then why don't we do the Lakers then? We can do your Lakers. Who do you want to talk about, Ed?
Who do I want to talk about?
Yeah.
What about
Lakers are your team.
this
I
is
feel like
going in,
it'd be rude if I
this is
chose the
going
Lakers
in
player.
this is going in blind, but I'd almost say Austin Reeves.
Okay, yeah, let's do Reeves. That's a good one. That's a fun one.
That
Yeah.
kid's been putting up numbers. Like
Yeah.
it's been all right. Let's see if Reeves is in here. Is AR in there? Here we go. Look at that. Look at that base purple wave. Interesting. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's an interesting one. Austin Reeves, PSA, silver PSA 10. Pop count is 82. Last sold for. Do you want to have a guess at this, or have you already seen it?
No, I haven't.
Have a guess what his current PSA 10 rookie price is.
Maybe 60 USD?
No, not even close.
What's he going for?
Last sold for $445.
Goodness.
Pop count on
Okay.
this is 82. Sale before that was on the 8th of January for 135 USD.
Okay.
And the sale before that 95.
All right,
So
that's a sell. That's a sell. There's nothing more to say.
At 445, it's a sell. What? All right. So where is Austin Reeves at right now, price wise for you?
Look, if you
At the
told me that was
$95, is he a
if you said that was $60 to $100, I mean, like that's fine. Like he's a pretty middling
yeah
prospect. He's exciting. He's on a good team. Da 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 da. That's fine. That's not 50% of a Tatum. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah?
Are you crazy? No.
I'd sell it at 445.
Yeah.
So
All right.
there you have it. There you have it. Yeah, right. I'd sell it. I'd sell it at that price. So.
All right. That was fun. That was good. We've already done Nuggets today with Jokic, haven't we? We've already done
We
Thunder
have,
with SGA.
we have.
Yeah. So actually, we're doing pretty good. Maybe we will get through 10. So why don't we do the Rockets next? Because I feel like we're speeding through this
All
maybe a
right.
little bit quicker than I was
Who's on the
thinking.
Rockets? Who's on the
Well, I
Rockets?
think for me, the obvious one is Jalen Green. You could twist my arm. We could talk about Şengün, but I think we can talk about both quickly if you wanted to.
Let's go Jalen Green. PSA 10. Yep. Bit different to the Austin Reeves recent prices. Actually,
So my thing about
the
Jalen
recent
Green is
Austin
that
Reeves.
he was really exciting for a while, and everyone's just dropped off him. So actually, this might be a really good time to get in and buy this guy.
He's
Alrighty.
he's actually down 8%. Yeah. So his
Yeah, right.
last sold 142.50. So around the 150 mark, that seems about right for a middling of the way prospect with potential. Yeah, good.
And to be honest, I think this is where Austin Reeves should sort of be at. So yeah, absolutely at 400
I agree.
Gs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Population on this is a bit higher though, it's 680, isn't it? I don't think Şengün is in card ladder, so we're going to need to do Şengün the old school way, using
Yeah,
130 point.
I always struggle with Şengün finding comps.
Alrighty, here we go. The straight red PSA 9, numbered to 299. That's selling for $111. I think that's
Okay.
absolutely perfect. Silver Wave Raw for $4.58. Yeah, this is good value. This is fine. This guy is a good player. He's an all-star this year. I actually would have expected this to go up a little bit higher, to be honest. PSA 9 silver sold for $35 US. Look, I think there's an argument to be made that you've already missed the investment window because he's been a lot lower than this previously. But I'd also say at the same time too, if you like to see a bit more of a body of work before you get there, well then
Yeah.
absolutely, this is good. There's a rookie red choice card here, sticker autograph, of course, coming out of Prizm for 67 USD. Oh, I like these ones actually. This is the anniversary card. That's selling for 18 USD. Look, that's
Yeah.
all very reasonable. I think that's totally like legit and that's fine.
Yeah.
Moving up, we're up to the top, aren't we? So do you want to do the Grizzlies really quick? Why don't we do a Ja Morant check-in? Because
I was gonna say we got the Grizzlies. Who else is on a tear? The Timberwolves, but yeah, the Grizzlies. I like
I
it.
don't
Ja
I
Morant.
don't think that the Wolves have done enough to make our top 10 list, to be honest, in the
I
league.
like it.
That's my
All right.
gut feeling.
All right.
I think
Ja
we have to
Morant.
cut off somebody as hard, as that is for me to say that. Look, this
All
is a
right. What
fun
about?
one to talk about just because of the all-time stats. So silver PSA 10, it's currently trading at $300. So what, are you telling me that Austin Reeves is selling for more than Ja Morant at the moment?
Damn right he is.
That's ridiculous. You got to have a really good reason to be buying Austin Reeves for more than Ja Morant.
Yeah. Yeah,
I actually
I
feel
just
like
that was a weird sale. Like the previous to that was 135, and I think that was about right.
oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
So it's like a
Right.
spike. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
but
So
it's
even okay.
verified.
So probably what we could have done for that one is just taken the last two and averaged that out, and that would take you around to the sort of mid
Yeah,
twos, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, cool. That could be just be a bad sale.
that's true. Jar's sort of holding steady, but he's still
Yeah,
down
he's
a
really
little
holding
bit.
steady, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, last 3 months he's down 13. Last month he's about steady, and the last 2 weeks he's down a little bit, but from that 400 mark down to 300 mark. But realistically, like the $300 mark over the last couple of years with everything that went on, I think he's still in that suffering until he starts. I don't know. Memphis don't seem to be in the spotlight or the conversation at the moment. They are sitting equal second in the standings in the West with Houston and Denver, and nobody's talking about them. They are playing a lot of
Let's do
exciting basketball.
Donovan Mitchell from the Cavs,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll really quickly do Jason Tatum because we talk about Tatum all the time, but we rarely actually
Check in with these
legit
prices.
comp him. We actually just sort of go back on our sort of what our past recollections were. Alrighty, Donovan Mitchell. This is a very interesting one for me because he's been out of the
He's
spotlight for
up.
so long in Utah. Population
He's
on
up
this is
big.
622. Last sold for $300. So basically the same price as Ja Morant. I like that a lot. So you've got the guy who is, not very much substance being Donovan Mitchell. He does have some
Yeah.
athleticism, but not as much as Ja. But he's playing on the
Yeah.
best team in basketball versus somebody who is, look, they're grinding it out and they're playing well at the moment in Memphis, but nowhere near the amount of success that the Cavaliers are having.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, this has been very up and down. Like if you're looking at the last 2 years of sales, if you're a Donovan Mitchell collector, you've had some really hard times. So it's been all the way up to 2,300, and then it's been
Mm.
down to 188. So 135 it was trading for a bit. Look, if you picked it up at 135, I think you're feeling very great. I think if you bought that at the peak of COVID, you're probably not collecting anymore. You've gone on to Pokemon or something like that.
True. Well, 12 months ago, this card was $160. It's currently selling for 300. So
Yeah, that's
those
right.
that have jumped on recently would be happy with the jump that the card has experienced.
I was buying Donovan Mitchell because for a while, particularly his select stuff, like
Yeah,
people were just giving it away. Like literally, they just wanted to get rid of it. Like
get
literally,
rid
I
of it.
reckon some of the stuff I picked up was 10, 20, $30.
Yeah,
So,
I agreed.
there was a point where he absolutely did, drop out.
Tanked.
And I actually think
Yeah,
that was after the Utah trade. So even though he went to a pretty good team, that I think that was the trigger that sort of set something off on that.
yeah.
Jason Tatum, we are going to be the anti Charles Barkley here. Are we the pro Charles Barkley here? We're the pro Charles, aren't we? Charles would approve of this content.
Charles
Population
would
on this
love our
nine.
content. Let's be fair.
Population on this is 915. Last sold for 707 USD. All time sales data. This is crazy. So this all time max is 3,000 US dollars. Looking at the last 3 months of data, we are looking at a increase in growth of 3%. So that is literally the status quo there.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, my
6
opinion of
months
this
he's
card
been
is still,
stable for 6 months. A
yeah,
year it's gone down a little bit. I think the 700 mark suits him well.
this is the best buy in basketball at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
What's
dollar for
what other
dollar, for consistency. Yeah.
even the
Sorry,
green?
mate, I
Oh no,
interrupted you.
the green's been pretty steady. No, the
Oh,
green's
you
about the
love the
same.
green.
But green's my favorite Tatum. 1,700 last sold 2 years. It's lost a bit of value actually, trading it from 3,000. Now you can pick it up for 1,700. So that green in the sub 2K mark might not be a bad something to look at.
I don't have the love for the green that you do, mate. I actually think it's unnumbered. It's a bit of sort of a gimmicky like thing for me. The population on that could keep climbing up. You know, I think you can't price that more than the silver thinking it's a numbered card. Like that's my sort of issue with that card. I agree with you on the aesthetics and
Oh
all that type of
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
but
yeah.
for me, that's just like the maths doesn't play out. Is where I'm going with that one. Yeah,
That's fair. That's fair. I'm looking at all the different ones. There's a few green numbered ones, like the numbered to the Pulsar to 25. That's for selling for 7K. Anyway, that's me going down a rabbit hole with
ah,
color matches.
thank you for listening. Thank you to Central Coast Radio. Thank you to you, Adam. Thank you to everyone who contributed to socials this week.
Yeah,
You know
thanks to
we love
everyone
it.
watching us on the YouTube, commenting on. By the way, Anthony Milne, shout out. Saw your comment on one of our recent timeless moments. Thank you for all your support on the
Yeah,
YouTube and all our new subscribers. Welcome. So yeah,
yeah.
till next
Alrighty,
week.
guys. Have
Have
a
a
great
lovely
day.
week, and we'll see you at the trade week next week at Fast Break Cards.